we need to have a conversation about property taxes. For the last month or so, the Republicans in Florida have been having discussions about passing legislation to eliminate homestead property taxes or to vastly change how property taxes are handled in the state of Florida. And you may be thinking to yourself, I don't own a home. It's not going to affect me. I'm here to tell you that's not true. Property taxes are the most progressive tax that can be levied against the American people. If that revenue has to be replaced, it will be replaced with a regressive tax, like a sales tax, maybe even an income tax, but it will definitely be replaced in the taxes that are levied on commercial properties or non-homesteaded properties. Non-homesteaded homes are typically rental homes. So if their tax bill goes up, if that commercial property's tax bill goes up, they are going to raise the prices for the goods that you buy there or raise your rent. Rent is already up 40% since 2020. How much higher can it go? They are blaming this on a boom of property tax revenue that's been coming into the state. But I think it's important for everyone to understand why there has been a boom in revenue. There are a few reasons. First of all, post-COVID, Ron DeSantis was out saying, move to Florida. Florida's the free state. Florida's open for business. All of the things that he said, enticing people to move to Florida. And that worked. Our population is up from 21.5 million to 23.5 million or thereabouts. So we've had an increase of 9% since 2020. Median home prices during that time have risen from $295,000 to $404,000 because there was more demand, prices went up. We also saw a 27% increase in new home construction. New homes mean new property tax revenue. An empty plot of land doesn't garner as much property tax as a built home. So an influx of people, more new homes, and the other thing that people often miss is the fact that the sale of a home triggers a new assessment of its value. Say someone has owned a home for the last 10 to 15 years, and its assessed value, because they had it homesteaded, was only maybe $200,000, but they sold it during the boom for $400,000. That is the exact same home. Nothing has changed, but we have got revenue on $200,000 additional dollars because there's a new assessed value. So all of those things should be points of pride for the Republicans. They should be a point of pride for Ron DeSantis. We're in a growing and flourishing state that people want to move to. However, they've flipped the script and decided to say that that is a windfall of tax revenue and everyone is wasting money all of a sudden. And I'm here to tell you that that is not a constitutional issue. That is a local elections issue. In local elections, you go out and you vote for who your county commissioners are going to be, who your school board members are going to be, who your city planners are going to be. Those are the people who set tax revenue for your county or city. They are the ones who determine what happens with that tax revenue, how it is spent. If you have a problem with your county or your municipality's tax policies, your problem is in a local election. It is not with a constitutional amendment. The other thing to remember about the way Florida works, first off, those local representatives in our county commissioner seats and our tax assessor seats, all of those, they typically win an incumbency at a rate of 80 or more percent, which means 8 out of 10 of them will run, probably unopposed, and they just get their seat back. If you were concerned about how your taxes were being levied or how they were being spent, that was your opportunity to either run against them or to look into who's running against them. The other thing that they have in their favor, and I live in Nassau County, which is a red Republican county. Last year, 2 of our county commissioners won directly in the primary, and one of them wasn't even opposed and won in the primary, not even having to ask for a single vote. Why is that, you say? In Florida, we have universal primary contests, which means if only one party is representative, in this case, only Republicans were running, they won in the primary. They didn't have to campaign or ask for votes in a general election. They just won in the primary with less than 30% turnout. But there is no end of people who are on Facebook or on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it, who are griping about property taxes and didn't turn out in the 2022 midterms, and especially in the primaries where some of those contests were determined. So you need to pay attention to your local elections and hold them accountable. I want to encourage everyone to take a look at what they are trying to do with this constitutional amendment. And whether or not you own a home, look at how it may affect you and make sure that you're asking your local officials what they think about it and what they intend to do if it gets passed and homestead is completely exempt. If you have any questions on this topic, feel free to reach out. I'd be glad to discuss it. Other than that, have a great day.